beneath the silver breath of the night, when the moon crowns the sky like a witness to unspoken vows, two souls sit side by side, their silence louder than thunder, their whispers softer than the falling dew. In their eyes lies the weight of 1,000 unshed tears, yet on their lips dances the strength of dignity, the grace of belonging, and the quiet agony of distance carved by destiny. She speaks, her words woven like threads of jasmine, delicate, fragile, trembling with hidden longing. He listens, not only with his ears but with the desert of his heart, where every syllable carves dunes of memory, dunes that rise and fall with the winds of time. The world may see two figures beneath a borrowed moonlight, yet within that image lives a storm no painter can capture, a fire no poet can extinguish. Her hands move as though sketching unseen maps upon the air, maps that lead to places where love has dwelled but now hides in shadows. His gaze is firm, yet behind its stillness swims a tide of sorrow, the sorrow of a man who carries crowns upon his head and chains upon his heart. What does the world know of nights like these? Nights where a man of deserts and horses, of falcons and freedom, sits in the prison of silence, tied not by rope but by duty, not by walls but by expectations that weigh heavier than stone. What does the world know of a woman cloaked in black, her voice wrapped in modesty, her eyes trembling like lanterns in the wind? She speaks not of love directly, yet every breath she draws is a poem that cries for belonging. Every pause between her words is an echo of a heart that once believed the stars themselves could be reached. The moon watches them like an old friend, perhaps even like a judge, whispering, "O children of fate, why does love in your hearts bloom like a flower only to be buried under sand? Why do you speak in half sentences? Why do you smile with lips that bleed inside?" He wishes to tell her that her presence is the only oasis in the deserts of his weary soul. But kings are not allowed to confess as poets do. He wishes to tell her that the night grows jealous of her eyes, but his tongue is sealed with promises he never chose. She wishes to tell him that no crown is worth the silence of a heart, no throne is worth the loneliness of a soul, but her voice has learned the art of breaking without a sound. So they sit as two stars torn from the same constellation, placed far apart by the cruel hands of destiny. Between them lies not only a table, not only the soft light of a gathering, but oceans of unsaid words, mountains of unshed tears, and skies of dreams unflown. Yet still there is beauty. Beauty in the way she leans forward as though to shorten the distance. Beauty in the way he listens with a devotion greater than any poem he ever penned. Beauty in the fact that though their hearts are broken, they still beat for one another beneath the robes of silence. The night unfolded like a wounded bird across the horizon, its wings heavy with silence, its feathers drenched in sorrow, and the moon stood still as if it too was hesitant to shine upon a heart that carried storms unseen by the world. I walk beneath the weight of shadows, carrying memories like pearls that were once luminous but now feel like stones pressed against my chest. The air carries whispers of a love that slipped through the fingers of time, and though the desert stretches endlessly before me, my soul finds no escape, for every grain of sand seems to carry her name. In the solitude of my chamber, I listen to the echoes of footsteps that never return, the laughter that once embroidered the air with joy now lost in the silence of corridors. How does one measure love that has turned into longing? How does one write verses for a face that is gone but still alive in every beat of the heart? My pen trembles as if the ink itself understands the depth of ache it must carry, and yet the words pour out like a river unwilling to rest, breaking stones and carving valleys in the soil of memory. There are nights when I close my eyes and she appears not as she left but as she lived, radiant like the dawn, her smile outshining even the sun that graced our mornings. I remember her voice, soft, woven with gentleness, carrying a strength only hearts in love can hear. To the world, I am a prince, a son of Dubai, a rider who commands the stallions of the desert. But within me lives only the man who yearns, who waits, who mourns in silence the absence of the one he cannot hold. O desert, you know my secrets, for I have spoken to your winds as if they were messengers to carry my grief across the dunes. O stars, you burn above me without pity, scattering your brilliance as if to mock the darkness I carry within. Yet still, I do not curse the fate that has taken her far, for love is not diminished by absence. It is tested. It is shaped into something eternal, and though the world may never see her beside me, my soul knows she is written into me, like verses carved on the heart that cannot be erased. There are days when I ride into the open, chasing horizons as if the gallop of my stallion can outrun sorrow. But the faster I move, the closer her memory becomes, like a flame that refuses to be extinguished. My eyes see her in the mirage, in the curve of the palm trees, in the reflection of the sea that kisses the shores of my beloved land. I wonder if she, too, looks at the same sky, if her thoughts ever travel back to the place where our souls met, where the promise of forever was born beneath the silent witness of the stars. The palace walls hold silence like a secret. They have seen me smile for the world. They have heard me laugh at the banquet of joy, but they also know the nights when I return alone, when I sit by the window and let the moonlight wash over my face, when I speak in whispers to the one who is no longer here. My people see strength,